Assassin's Creed Unity had the roughest launch in the franchise's history. Bugs everywhere, performance problems, missing content. The reviews were brutal. The internet had a field day. Everyone moved on to something else. And then something happened. Patches came. Problems got fixed. People went back. And what they found was one of the most beautiful open-world games ever created. Paris during the French Revolution. Every building a historical landmark. Every street a piece of actual history. The Notre Dame Cathedral alone contains more detail than most modern games put into entire cities. Parkour feels better in Unity than in any other AC game. The movement is smooth and responsive. Climbing through Paris feels genuinely exhilarating. The co-op missions, largely forgotten, are genuinely great, designed specifically for coordination, for planning, for doing things together that you couldn't do alone. And visually, Unity still holds up in 2026. There are areas of this game that look better than titles releasing right now. Assassin's Creed Unity released November 11th, 2014 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Go back to it. You'll understand why people are still talking about it. Alan Wake came out in 2010, felt like nothing else. A psychological thriller about a writer whose fiction starts becoming reality. Stephen King energy. Twin Peaks atmosphere. A game that understood narrative in ways most games still haven't caught up to. The remastered version brings everything up to modern standards. Visuals overhauled. Performance improved. The story exactly as it was, which is the point. Combat uses light as a weapon, burning away darkness that protects enemies before you can damage them. Simple on paper, surprisingly deep in practice, but it's the atmosphere that stays with you. Bright falls, the forest, the darkness, the sense that something is fundamentally wrong with this place and this situation. The writing is genuinely exceptional. Alan Wake as a character is interesting in ways most game protagonists never manage. His internal monologue creates a layer of narrative that elevates every moment. The episode structure works perfectly. Each one ends wanting you to immediately continue. Alan Wake Remastered released October 5th, 2021 on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. If you missed it the first time, fix that immediately. Mafia 3 gets unfairly dismissed because it's not Mafia 2. And yes, Mafia 2 is a classic. Nobody's arguing that. But Mafia 3 is doing something completely different, something that deserves credit on its own terms. 1968 New Bordeaux, a fictionalized New Orleans, the civil rights era, racial tension, Vietnam veterans coming home. The setting is richer and more historically interesting than most games ever attempt. Lincoln Clay's story is genuinely compelling. A biracial Vietnam veteran building a criminal empire on the ruins of the mob that destroyed his family. The revenge narrative is personal and focused. The soundtrack is exceptional, absolutely exceptional. Period-accurate music playing from car radios. Jimi Hendrix, Rolling Stones, The Kinks. Driving through New Bordeaux feels like living in 1968. The city is detailed and atmospheric. Swamps, bayous, jazz clubs, rundown neighborhoods. The geography of the South rendered beautifully. The repetition in missions is a real criticism. Fair enough, but the story, the setting, and the soundtrack make up for structural issues significantly. Mafia 3 released October 7th, 2016 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Go back with fresh eyes. Judge it for what it is. Far Cry 6 is the most politically ambitious entry in a franchise that usually avoids politics. Yara, a fictional Caribbean island, inspired clearly by Cuba, ruled by a dictator played by Giancarlo Esposito with genuine menace. Anton Castillo is one of the best villains the Far Cry franchise has ever produced. His scenes with his son Gabriel carry weight that the rest of the game earns around them. The world is gorgeous. Caribbean landscapes, jungle, beach, urban environments. The variety keeps exploration consistently interesting. Weapon customization is the deepest in the series, building weapons from makeshift components, creating something that feels authentically DIY while still being genuinely effective. The guerrilla warfare tone works well. You're an underdog fighting an overwhelming force. That dynamic gives the combat context most shooters lack. Supremo backpacks add a unique ability layer. Each one changes your tactical approach significantly. The story doesn't always live up to Esposito's performance, but when it focuses on Castillo, it's genuinely gripping. Far Cry 6 released October 7th, 2021 on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. If the villain alone doesn't sell you, nothing will. The original Resident Evil 4 didn't just change the franchise, it changed the entire action game genre. Everything that followed owes something to RE4. The over-the-shoulder camera, the inventory management, the merchant, the tone that balanced horror with action. All of it started here. Rural Spain, Leon Kennedy, Ashley, a mission that goes wrong from the very first moment. The setup is simple, the execution is perfect. Combat is still satisfying decades later. Shooting kneecaps to create opportunities, managing inventory under pressure, resource scarcity that makes every bullet meaningful. The pacing is what legendary game design looks like. It knows exactly when to slow down, exactly when to hit you with something massive, exactly when to let atmosphere breathe. Las Plagas, the Ganados, Del Lago, Salazar, Sadler. The enemy and boss design is consistently creative. Each encounter introduces something new, and the setting shifts keep it from ever feeling repetitive. Village, castle, island. 3 completely different tones. Resident Evil 4 released January 11th, 2005 on GameCube, then every platform imaginable afterward. If you've only played the remake, play the original. Both are essential. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is Insomniac at the peak of what they've built over 2 games. Everything is bigger. The city, the story, the stakes. Peter and Miles both playable, their stories interweaving. Switching between them mid-open world is seamless. Webwings change traversal completely, gliding across Manhattan at full speed while the city stretches out below you. Movement in this game is genuinely joyful. You don't fast travel because moving is too much fun. The Venom storyline is handled better than expected. The symbiote's influence on Peter feels genuinely threatening. The personality shift is subtle before it becomes undeniable. Combat incorporates both characters' distinct styles perfectly. Peter's gadgets, Miles's bioelectricity. Switching between them keeps encounters fresh. The city is the most detailed Insomniac has built. Queens, Brooklyn, different neighborhoods with distinct character. Side content is genuinely worth doing rather than just completionism. The emotional beats land consistently. Characters feel like people. Relationships feel earned. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 released October 20th, 2023, exclusively on PlayStation 5, one of the best superhero games ever made, still unmatched. Hogwarts Legacy gave Harry Potter fans something they'd been asking for since the books existed, an actual open-world Hogwarts, a real castle to explore. Every corridor, every classroom, every secret passage, built with a level of detail that borders on obsessive. The castle alone is worth the price of admission. Walking through spaces you've only seen in films and feeling the scale of them for the first time. The Great Hall, the library, the moving staircases, all of it exactly as it should be. The wider world of the Scottish Highlands surrounding Hogwarts is equally impressive. Hogsmeade, ancient magical settlements, underground magical communities. The world feels lived in. Combat is more sophisticated than expected. Spell combinations, enemy types requiring different approaches, the room of requirement letting you experiment freely. The story is set in the 1800s, away from known characters. That distance is smart. It lets the world breathe without being constrained by existing canon, character creation, house selection, your own story. The RPG elements aren't deep, but they serve the fantasy. Hogwarts Legacy released February 10th, 2023 on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. For anyone who grew up with Harry Potter, this is something special. Rise of the Tomb Raider is the best game in the reboot trilogy, and one of the most underrated action-adventure games ever made. Lara Croft continuing her transformation from survivor to hunter. The Siberian setting is stunning. Snow, ice, ancient ruins buried under centuries of cold. The environment is both beautiful and actively hostile. The tombs are the highlight. Optional, but absolutely worth doing. Environmental puzzles that require real thought. Solutions that feel genuinely satisfying when you find them. The game rewards players who take the time to explore. Survival mechanics add texture without overwhelming. Crafting arrows mid-combat from gathered materials. Resources that run out if you're careless. The wilderness feels dangerous because it actually is. The story develops Lara's character meaningfully. Her relationship with her father's legacy. Her growing confidence alongside her growing ruthlessness. The tension between those two things drives the narrative. Stealth and combat both work well. The game never forces you into one approach. Reading each encounter and deciding your method is consistently satisfying. Rise of the Tomb Raider released November 10th, 2015 on Xbox One first, then PS4 and PC. If you've slept on this, wake up immediately. The Last of Us needs no introduction, but The Last of Us Part 1 Remake deserves its own conversation. This isn't just a visual upgrade. The animations are rebuilt. The AI is reworked. The accessibility options are the best in any game. And the story, which was already one of gaming's finest, benefits from being experienced with this level of fidelity. Joel and Ellie, 20 years after, a world that has moved on without humanity leading it. Clickers, bloaters, runners, and human beings who are often more dangerous than any of them. The relationship between Joel and Ellie is still the most convincing found family dynamic in the history of the medium. You believe in them because the performances demand it. Combat is tense in ways that most games never achieve. Resources genuinely scarce. Every encounter dangerous. The decision between fighting and avoiding is always real. The world building through environmental storytelling remains exceptional. Notes, photographs, graffiti, 20 years of human collapse written into every room. The Last of Us Part 1 released September 2nd, 2022 on PS5 and later on PC. If this isn't already in your library, that needs to change today. Ryse Son of Rome launched with the Xbox One in 2013 and got dismissed as a pretty tech demo with shallow gameplay. That reputation has aged poorly. Yes, the combat is not deeply complex. Yes, it's a linear experience without much branching, but what Ryse does within those limitations is genuinely impressive and still holds up completely. Ancient Rome rendered with extraordinary detail, the Colosseum, Roman legions, barbarian invasions. The scale of the spectacle is consistently impressive even compared to modern releases. The execution system, criticized for being repetitive, creates a rhythm that becomes genuinely satisfying. Combat feels weighty. Every strike has impact. Being a Roman centurion feels like something. The story is straightforward revenge. Marius Titus, a general, a betrayal, a mission. It doesn't try to be more than it is. Within those parameters, it succeeds completely. Visually, Ryse still surprises people who haven't seen it recently. The character models, the environmental detail, the lighting. A 2013 launch title that still competes visually. Ryse Son of Rome released November 22nd, 2013 on Xbox One, then PC in 2014. Dismissed unfairly, worth revisiting completely. That's the list. 10 old games that are still better than most things releasing today. Not because new games are bad, but because these games did something special that time hasn't diminished at all. Drop your personal old game that still holds up in the comments. I read every single one. Hit like and subscribe for more gaming content every week. See you in the next one.